well. Plus,
when you look at the nature of the actual fleeing and the nature of this pursuit, there are questions as to if this pursuit should have continued, when it should have stopped.
Saturday's deadly chase that ended in Ybor has some asking questions about the pursuit by FHP.
One bad actor, one bad decision, and people lost their lives and people were injured.
While others are calling for better safety measures in the city to make sure something like this does not happen again.
From Tampa Bay's #1 news station, this is the Fox 13 6 o'clock news.
Good evening and welcome tonight. I'm Mark Wilson.
And I'm Allie Corey. Thanks for being with us. Well, first here at 6, we have to talk about the weather because anyone else turn off those air conditioners today? Maybe you grabbed a sweater, some Ugg boots, and thought, wait a minute, what month are we in? What a difference a day makes, right? Yesterday was warm and humid. Today, cool and crisp.
Yeah, the temperature is going to keep dropping as well. So let's start with Paul to see what we can expect here over the next few hours. What do you think?
How about this? High temperature today in Tampa, 75 degrees. When did that occur? Right after midnight. We've been down, down, down ever since, kind of sitting in the low 60s all day, which is below our average low for the day. Down to 59 in Tampa, 49 Tallahassee, Miami is 71. The winds are a big factor. They'll diminish a little bit tonight, but still we're talking about wind chill. It's going to be a 2-night cold snap. In fact, it may be colder in spots tomorrow night than it will be tomorrow morning, because tomorrow night we go clear and calm with some radiational cooling. Got a freeze warning up from Hernando County inland all the way up into southern Georgia and Alabama. As I said, wind chill numbers tomorrow morning between 21 and 25 north of Tampa Bay, between 30 and 35 to the south, and probably some record cold going 39 degrees in Tampa. You're going to love, though, the 7-day. The 7-day's got 80s on it. We'll have that in about 20 minutes. Back to you.
All righty, Paul, thanks. New questions this evening about the Highway Patrol's pursuit policy after a car fleeing from state troopers killed 4 people in Ybor City on 7th Avenue Saturday night. Now, police say that the driver, Silas Sampson, was driving recklessly on I-275, speeding, racing, and then fled a trooper who tried to stop him.
But that led to a high-speed chase into a residential neighborhood before the driver turned onto Ybor's 7th Avenue. Fox 13's Genevieve Curtis joins us live tonight. Genevieve, you're looking into the circumstance of that chase and also FHP's policies surrounding chases, correct?
Yeah, absolutely, Allie. And police tell us that FHP did disengage moments before that crash in Ybor, but there are still a lot of questions around the pursuit. Now, this is the policy of HP and their pursuit policy that was just relaxed last year, and it gives troopers a lot more leeway to chase. At the time, last year, law enforcement experts questioned the safety of that policy, and today we spoke with some who say it is leading to dangerous outcomes.
This is a much looser policy than most other organizations have in our state and throughout the country.
Florida Highway Patrol relaxed its policies on pursuits just last year. Attorney Anthony Rickman says it has been problematic since.
Since they've laxed those policies, there have been more deaths on the roadway related to FHP pursuits than any other organization, than any other law enforcement agency. And we've seen deaths occurring at an exponentially higher rate since their policy changed.
FHP removed most restrictions around pit maneuvers, a tactic the trooper tried and failed to use here on Nebraska Avenue.
FHP's attempting a pit.
But this officer, at the end of the day, if he pits that vehicle, he's a hero. You know, he stopped this guy from driving recklessly into Ybor City.
The FHP policy differs from most law enforcement agencies in another key way.
And essentially, most jurisdictions, most law enforcement agencies, they have a policy where you can only pursue somebody who is engaged in a forcible felony, homicide, burglary, robbery, a major crime where you're really trying to protect life and liberty.
In this case, Rickman says the trooper is pursuing someone for a misdemeanor crime of reckless driving.
It is the worst outcome of a pursuit I've ever seen.
Tom Gleason is a retired police captain who worked for FDLE and trained officers at the State Academy. He's taught officer safety all over the country, and now he's on the board at Pursuit Safety. The national organization advocates for safer pursuit methods to prevent bystander and officer deaths. He says officers can use tag numbers, video, and helicopter assistance to make a follow-up arrest later.
Is you need to weigh out all these circumstances before you decide to pursue. And the reason being, you can get the individual running from you, fleeing from you the next day, but you can't go back and bring a dead person back to life.
The mayor said she would not speculate about the pursuit itself.
I, again, have seen through 31 years of law enforcement that when tragedy occurs, the first thing a lot of people want to do is pull out the finger of blame. And that finger of blame can be pointed directly at the driver.
But did point out Tampa police have a very strict pursuit policy, one that would not have allowed this same chase to happen. And we did reach out to FHP today about its pursuit policy. I also asked if it's a conflict of interest for the agency to be investigating this crash. We didn't hear back today, but last year it justified its change in policy, saying that its troopers are some of the most experienced in the country when it comes to pursuits and vehicle operations. Reporting live in Tampa, Genevieve Curtis, Fox 13 News.
All right, Genevieve, thank you. Well, you know, one of the biggest questions to emerge after this deadly crash is if anything can be done to make Ybor City safer from these kinds of incidents.
Yeah, Fox 13's Evan Axelbank joins us live at Bradley's, where a memorial to the victims has already gone up. Evan.
Well, one moment and a series of bad decisions has caused enormous pain for the people who are memorialized here at Bradley's tonight. There is no shortage, of course, of ideas to make things safer in Ybor City, but city leaders aren't sure that any of them would have worked in this case.
The carnage of Saturday has given way to the realization of Monday that none of this had to happen.
It's still difficult to grasp how one individual's bad decision can impact so many individuals' lives.
Charging documents against 22-year-old Silas Sampson reveal the names of the 4 who were killed. They are 25-year-old Christina Richards of Ohio, 41-year-old Lisa Johnson of Winter Haven, 53-year-old Sherman Jones of Tampa, and 54-year-old Marlon Collins of Bartow. The 13 who were hurt have not been publicly identified, but the mayor met with several of those who were hit by the car that was going 60 miles an hour.
He is doing well physically, but emotionally, he was with 3 other individuals just walking down the street, and one of the individuals didn't make it.
Can anything be done to make things safer for pedestrians in Ybor City? Aside from speeding drivers pulling over when they're asked, the mayor says the city is considering installing bollards on street corners to prevent cars from jumping the curb. But they are not deep in discussions on closing down parts of 7th Avenue to cars during the busiest times, because research shows the flow of traffic prevents groups from congregating and starting fights.
We can pivot when new facts become available, but it also doesn't mean we're going to act on impulse.
City officials do not believe Sampson deliberately turned his car into the storefront, but rather lost control while trying to avoid a car that was making a legal turn. The mayor did not second-guess the troopers, who tried several times to stop Sampson's speeding car before it turned onto 7th Avenue.
One moment you're asleep, and next thing you know, there's a knock on your door, and you find out that your child's life has been changed or ended.
Sampson is charged with 4 counts of vehicular homicide and a charge of fleeing to elude. He does have a pretrial detention hearing scheduled for Thursday, and prosecutors are going to argue, Allie, that he cannot be let out before his trial without potentially causing danger to the public. Back to you.
Yeah, Evan Axelbank live for us. Evan, thanks much. So St. Pete city leaders tonight, they're investing millions into infrastructure improvements and resiliency projects across their city. City Council has dedicated more than $19 million to the projects, which include the highly important update to the city's stormwater system. That's part of a bigger push from Mayor Ken Welch to prepare the city for future disasters. The project will increase resiliency against climate change as well and ensure that they can provide more reliable public works services to residents before, during, and then after a disaster.
Well, tomorrow is Veterans Day, and community leaders are giving back to those who helped fight for our freedom. Habitat for Humanity of Tampa Bay is hosting its annual Veterans Build Week of service in Tampa. And today the event brings together volunteers to repair and build homes for veterans and their families. Linda Hardy's late husband was a veteran, and she needed a new roof after it was damaged during Hurricane Milton, but had some trouble with insurance.
I received a letter from Citizen Insurance Company stating that I would not be able to, they would not cover me because of the roof. It was 20 years old, and I had to get another insurance company. I appreciate Habitat for Humanity for helping me out.
Yeah, the money for this week's builds came from Habitat's annual Veterans Inshore Fishing Tournament. The event last month raised more than $130,000 for future home repairs. Well, coming up in our next half hour, the FBI investigating a death on a cruise ship.
Yeah, what we know about the 18-year-old from Central Florida who died, and a little bit later on, another day in the government shutdown, putting more strain on travelers all across our nation. A look tonight at how the flight delays and cancellations are impacting travelers.